Hey everyone, welcome to another session of Creative Art Time. This is a weekly live series where we create and talk about art together. So if you're new here, I'm a self-taught artist from the Netherlands and I mostly create realistic portrait drawings with graphite and charcoal, but I'm also enjoying watercolors and pastel pencils lately. So today we're going to sketch eyes with different emotions. This is what we drew last week. And after that, I received this comment. I would like to see how to add emotions like happiness or anger to eyes. And another comment, could it be possible to convey some kind of feeling by drawing just one eye? It would be impressive to achieve since there are no gestures that easily convey a context. So I thought it was really interesting because I love trying to capture the emotion of the person while drawing. This is really challenging to do, drawing just one eye. So I thought, why not? Let's just do this. Now, when you're looking at a person, you can think about how you can see which emotion they have. Like a simple way is by looking at the eyes and eyebrows, for example. So if the eyebrows are high and the eyes wide open, they could be shocked. Or if the eyebrow is low, they could be angry or frustrated. Or, for example, if you don't see someone's full face and they are smiling, you will see creases around the eye. So when you draw the eyebrow that way, or if you add creases, that will help create a certain emotion just by looking at the eye. So we'll get started in a moment. And this live session will be around an hour. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in the chat anytime. So let's get started. Um, let's see. So I'm going to draw one, two, three eyes again, or sketch. And again, I'm going to use a mechanical pencil. This is graph gear, but yeah, you can use any pencil, any graphite pencil you have. This has a 2B lead inside, so you can use an HB or a 2B, whatever pencil you like to sketch with. So welcome everyone. Hope you can join us. Drawing, we're going to start drawing and sketching the first eye. So I hope you can see which emotion we're going to draw. I'm going to start with the first one. Yes, this is Pentel Graph Gear. It's one of my favorite mechanical pencils. Let me show you. So I'm going to just use only one pencil. I'm using like light pressure here. Now I'm using medium pressure here. And now I'm using harder pressure. So you see that, let me use lighter pressure even. See if we can get lighter. Just a bit lighter. Maybe press a bit harder. Yeah. So like 5 values just with one pencil. And this is just because I'm only sketching. But normally when I create realistic drawings, I always say use light pressure. If you want to go darker, start using a darker graphite pencil, like a darker gray. But in this case, we're just going to use one pencil. And it's okay if you're going to press harder because we're not going to be layering after that. Jeevan has a Staedtler mechanical pencil. Yeah, that could be great as well. If you have a 2B lead or an HB lead inside, that's great for sketching. So I'm going to draw a front view, and this eye will be from someone that's smiling. So there will be more creases, and the eye will also be a bit more closed. So that way you will see that the person will be smiling. So let's start. I usually start with a middle line just to make it easier to stay on that line. Yeah, it doesn't really matter if the angle is a bit Let's draw this more straight, just because I'm a perfectionist. Okay. Yeah, usually I have the iris and the pupil on the middle line, and we also have the outer eye corner, and then the inner eye corner is usually a bit lower than that line. It's usually how the eye curves. Okay, so we'll have the eye a bit closed this time. So if this is like the upper eyelid, and then we have the lower eyelid here, because the pupil will be in the middle. So this part will be a bit closed, smaller. Okay, so let's, here is the, like around here is the inside of the eye. Okay, so draw the curved, like a bit curved, and then down. And I'm drawing this a bit thicker because this is also like the lash line. And then we have the lower lash line, but also the waterline. So if we go from this corner and a bit above the lash line, like that, and follow the curve a bit. But then here it usually starts to curve upwards, and then here it goes a bit lower than the middle line, the inside. So let's, I'm going to use the stick eraser, just clean it off a bit to clean up a bit of the lines. Okay, so the eye is a bit more closed, like I said. Here we will have the crease line. And then there's usually some creases below the eye. In this case, there will be more creases. Then we have the eyebrow. If you usually go from the crease line, let's draw the crease line first. Follow the eye shape. Usually it's a bit more in the middle, so this is a front eye with a front view. Then usually in the middle it's a bit more straight, and then it starts to curve down. On this side as well. And then usually from here you go up, and that's where the eyebrow is, like around here, and then here it starts to curve down. Okay, so this is the front view eye. Let's see, the iris will be in the middle, so you can look at the distance of this part and this part. And because the eye is a bit closed, you will see most of the iris covering, of the eyelid covering the iris and the pupil. Also usually a bit highlights, so you can draw like a rectangle. And now let's look at the creases. So here's a crease, another crease here, below the eye is a crease line, but in this case, because the person is smiling, so you don't see that now, but let's add a few crease lines. And the tricky part here is that this is just a sketch, so I'm not going to shade this all realistically, but I do want to add a bit more shading because the shadows on the creases will also matter in this case. Let's draw the hairs of the eyebrow. Here it goes up, And then here it starts to go more to the left. And then here it starts to go to the right. Okay, so I see lots of you from different parts of the world. India, USA, Canada, Montreal, and from Malaysia. My brother has been to Malaysia a few months ago. I haven't been there. I've only been in different countries in Europe actually, but it's interesting that yeah, online we can just all follow each other from different parts of the world as if we're just close to each other. So here the hairs are a bit more together. I usually just draw the eyebrows a bit rough, a bit loose. You don't want to draw it a bit stiff. It will look a bit more natural, like this. Okay, now I want to add a bit more. Let's erase the middle line a bit. And let's start to add some shading. And then let's see how that can change it all. Adding some shading. And I'm going to shade a bit lightly, and I'm going to use just my finger to blend a bit. Let's add some shading to the iris. So I'm going to go over the pupil with a bit more pressure. Remember, you can use lighter pressure, medium pressure, and harder pressure with the same pencil. That's what I do when I'm sketching. And with sketching, it's a good thing to practice this because you want to, yeah, drawing. You want drawing to feel more natural to you. What are the benefits of using mechanical pencils? That's a good question. What I like, my favorite thing about the mechanical pencil is that you keep a sharp tip every time without having to erase or sharpen. You don't have to sharpen the pencil. So I just click and I have another. And the tip is really thin. So this is a 0.5. You even you have thicker ones. You have a 0.7. 0.5 is like a really thin tip. So that's great for sketching. You don't have to sharpen. Yeah, that's one thing. So you just have to have one pencil. This also has an eraser on the back. So whenever you're going to travel, a mechanical pencil is great to just take with you. You just need a pencil in your sketchbook, and that's all you need. Does a larger pupil convey more emotion? Yes. What I know is that if it's really dark, your pupil can be bigger, right? And if you're looking at the light or maybe even at the sun, your pupil gets really small. So no, I don't think that will change the emotion. That just has something to do with the light, I think. And also, yeah, so the pupil that changes, that's, yeah, no, I'm not really sure. I think the light, but can also, so I think the how you feel, like if you're squinting your eyes, if you think something is funny, or if you're angry and your eyebrow is lower, those things are what will matter. Yes, I'm using reference pictures. So I looked at different eyes at different people that were smiling, and I tried to look at what if I only look at the eye. So I remove the rest of the face, like the nose, the mouth, and all of the features, and I just look at one single eye. What determines or what makes this person still look like he's smiling? So that's what I looked at, different portraits. It's also a nice thing to practice for yourself. Just go to Pinterest, search like a smiling person, or maybe look at yourself in the mirror. I'm just going to continue shading here. So look at yourself in the mirror when you're smiling. How does that change your eye? And how does that change the look of your eyebrow? Or look disappointed or frustrated. We're going to do that one next. So then your eyebrow will be looking, more lower than normal. That's what I looked for, to check and see that how that changes in a person's eye. And then I chose one, and that's what I'm using now for the reference. Let's see. Does a large which mechanical pencil? This is Graph Gear Pentel, but the brand doesn't really matter. Although I do think this brand is I do like this one, because I also have a mechanical pencil by Faber-Castell, and I prefer this one. This one feels just a bit smoother. So what I'm doing now is going over the crease lines, and I really want to add this shading to really make, you see that adding these crease lines make the person smiling a bit more. At least that's what I think. So adding this shading to the sketch will really matter in this case. So I'm just using my pencil, my finger to smudge, but you can also use a blending stump. Here some shading, and here is some shading at the top. And you see that the shading can also really matter when you're going to draw something. Sometimes I see someone, they draw a person or someone's eye, and then they use really dark outlines on the eyes and on the creases. But for example, if this person was just looking relaxed and you draw these creases, you really outline these creases, then you will change the look of the person. So that will all, here's also a crease. I'm going to, here, because usually when you're smiling, you kind of like, your eyes get closer, you squint your eyes, and then this goes together. The lashes are low, and here they're all together. I'm actually going to shade the inside, the eyeball white, to add some shading. And let's darken the iris a bit. So I'm going to use a bit more pressure. And darken this. So you see how each crease line and each shading that I add is changing the look. Let's see, the waterline, and then I have just some small lashes. The waterline is a bit lighter, so I'm going to use the eraser. Even though you smudge, you can just use the eraser to bring back any highlights. Again, this is just a sketch. And here the lashes go into the, almost like here, the inner corner. And here, just a few. Let's add a bit shading here. And let's darken some, let's see, the crease line is here. So you see that when I add the crease line, I also add shading to it, because otherwise it will just look like a line. You see that now, because I'm adding this shading, that it looks more like a crease. Good afternoon from Sweden, welcome. It's also afternoon there. So here in the middle, it's a bit darker, the crease line, and then above it, I'm adding some shading. This will make it look like a crease. And then here below, I'm adding some shading. Okay. So, is your eye starting to look like a smiling eye? And of course, this is a challenge. This is just one eye. But when you're going to draw portraits, this is really something great to practice. Like why, so the person that you're going to draw, I usually like to analyze and see what makes this person look like this person. So the shape of the eyes, the way the person is looking or smiling, the creases, the wrinkles, all of those things will also help you to achieve the same likeness in your portrait drawing. So every wrinkle, every crease, everything matters. So if I would draw this eye and then I wouldn't add these creases, for example, it wouldn't look that much like he's smiling. It's a bit lighter here. Okay, let's move on to the next. I want to add two more. I really like adding, this is my favorite part, shading. Shading is what makes it, you bring a drawing to life with shading. I could just keep on going and going. This is my favorite part, adding details. But this is a sketch, so let's move on to the next. This one will be also a bit to the front, but the person is looking a bit, the eyebrows are a bit lower. Let's start with a middle line. Straight middle line. And you don't have to draw, you see how I draw the line in, shorter lines? That's how I also help myself when I draw a shape. You don't have to draw something like this, like really stiff. Try to draw loose, shorter sketch lines. That's really important when you're going to sketch something. Okay, so let's draw the upper eyelid here, the lower eyelid, and then we have the crease line. And it will be tilted just a bit. So here will be the inner corner. The inner corner will be just a bit lower. Okay, so this will be up. It will be straight and then start to curve down a bit. Here for the lash line and the waterline. So here we're going to curve just a bit. Let's remove this line, clean it up a bit. And curve. So this is the inner corner. And the crease line will, let's draw this one. This is the upper eyelid. And then we have the crease line. And then here it curves down. Okay, and then here it goes almost to the line, just follow the eye shape. That's the iris from the inner corner, like this, distance, we can have the iris, and then here it's barely touches like the waterline. And the pupil, and the iris is quite dark. So let's fill that in. What will make this person is look frustrated or sad, maybe. You can fill that in. So here will be the eyebrow. The eyebrow will be lower, like this, almost like, yeah. Let's fill that in. Thanks for these videos on sketching eyes. They really help me practice and overcome my fear of sketching them in my portraits. Always amazing. Thank you so much. And yeah, I'm glad this is helpful, because when you're going to draw portraits, eyes are the most important in the portrait. If the eyes don't look right, yeah, I think eyes are the most important. So it's really nice to, even though you're not going to sketch this realistically, it's great to practice. Let's see. The eyelashes are going down because the eye is a bit more closed in this case. Then the eyelashes usually go down. And also doing these kind of sketches, you're analyzing eyes. It's important to sketch any type of noses, any feature, lips, mouth. Quick sketches are also great to keep you practicing. The lower lashes are a bit longer. Okay, the eyebrow. So here's also some shading. So does it already look a bit sad? So you can really see how because the eyebrow is looking down. Let's add the eyebrow hairs. So here it goes up. And then here the person is like, how do you say that? You know, pressing or pushing the eyebrow down. So here the eyebrow hairs. And then here you see some shading. This will really give that yeah, illusion that the eyebrow is pushed down. And then here the hairs are, because you know you have muscles on your forehead, so you push that down. And yeah, we need some more hairs here. So I also looked up different portraits of people that are looking sad or frustrated or angry, actually. Yeah, angry is what I looked for. Frustrated and angry. And what I saw a lot was the eyebrow. You can also look in the mirror, look at yourself, and then put your eyebrows. Look at how that changes the emotion in your face. So this is also challenging to draw. This is also something I find challenging myself, but I do find this interesting. And this is, let's add some shading here. So here's also some more shading. So again, it's interesting to analyze different reference photos. I think that's a great practice. And before I sketch something, I always do my homework. I research, I look for different reference photos, I check different, I just research. That's also one of my, next to drawing, I always like to search for good reference photos to draw. And some reference photos are really like beautiful or interesting to draw, some not. It can also be a preference of the artist. What do you think is interesting to draw? And I personally like to draw portraits where you can see some kind of emotion. And capturing that emotion or capturing the likeness of the person. That's a challenging thing, and I like to practice that and challenge myself to do that. And when you're going to do that, if you're going to draw a whole portrait of someone, every shape, everything really matters. So first of all, your sketch will really need to be accurate. And that's what I do usually with measuring when I'm going to draw a whole portrait. You want to make sure that everything is correct and accurate. And then next is the shading. You mentioned how important mastering facial feature before attempting portraiture. What are some great places to find reference photos, like eyes, nose, lips, etc.? Yeah, a great, my favorite website to go to is Pinterest. The only thing there is that the photos are not copyright free. So there are artists or photographers that upload their photos over there. So you do need to keep that in mind. If you're going to sell your artwork, for example, you do always want to maybe get permission from the photographer. It's always best to make your own reference pictures, of course, but if you're going to draw animals, that won't be easy, of course. But you also have copyright-free websites, and one of my favorite is called Unsplash. You also have Pixabay and Pexels with an E. Those are copyright-free pictures, and you can just browse, and you're free to use those reference photos for anything. Beautiful, you make it look so easy. Thank you so much. I hope that if you are sketching this and you're not, that you will continue to practice, because it is something that is worth practicing. And maybe it can motivate you to practice some more and draw some more. And with sketching, so I'm continuing to add more shading, but you can also just leave it like this. And it doesn't have to take long, like 10 minutes or 20 minutes per eye. So maybe like create some kind of routine. Like if you think, oh, I don't have enough time to draw. Okay, let's just sit down for 10 minutes. Let's just draw an eye. Or let's practice a nose today. Let's look for Pinterest, type in nose. And I like to add natural. Like when I'm searching for eye references, I like to add natural, or otherwise you'll maybe get like all of these makeup eye images. And I prefer natural looking eyes. So it is sometimes tricky to find the right reference photo that you're looking for. Another thing that's interesting now is AI and images that are created with AI. You're welcome, Shannon. AI is something interesting now, but I do think it's something that could be an option to use for reference photos. So if you're searching for a certain type of reference photo, you can just type in, let's say, girl looking happy, dark hair or light hair or whatever. And then it can create an AI image of what you want to draw. And that's something that can be helpful to use for a reference photo. So yeah, while it can look a bit stiff and yeah, created by a computer, robot-looking image, um, images created by AI could be great to use for reference, and then you can create your own. Um, so I'm going over this dark and everything. Then you can create your own drawing from that. You can also change things if you don't like everything. And yeah, that's just my opinion on AI. You can create something. I like to use reference photos. It's very difficult to create something, draw something by your own imagination. So I think that can be something interesting to use for reference photos. Let's erase this. So let's see, is this eye looking a bit, yeah, worried? Maybe this eye is looking a bit worried, I would say. So you see that how this can really, let's make this a bit higher, maybe this a bit lower. To get photos of eyes, I take them from street ads or on the subway, for example. Yeah, that's a great idea because usually those are really in close up, really big. And if you want to draw something realistic, details matter, and then you can see a lot of detail in the eye. That's a great idea. It's amazing how you say this is a sketch, but it looks realistic. Yeah, I understand. That's because I'm adding shading. And you see that if yeah, my finger is getting dirty here. If I wouldn't use my finger, it would still look like these lines. So I really like to create that smoother blending. So that's why I'm using my finger here. Otherwise, it would be more of a sketch. So yeah, it is looking a bit more realistic because of the shading that I'm adding. I hope yeah, I don't want to take too long because I did say that I wanted to sketch something, but yeah, this is getting a bit more realistic. I can understand that. Let's darken the lower lashes just a bit. And shading is really what can make a drawing look interesting. Because you can sketch something, you can create just an outline. Everyone can do that, draw that, but then you just have an outline. How are you going to make it look more interesting? And that's where shading comes into, yeah, the shading. So let's, how do you call that? Accentuate? No, what's that word I'm looking for? So adding this shading here, looking like that, the eyebrows really. This is quite challenging to make this eyebrow look a bit more lower. Yeah, like that. I think it looks great. It's a testament to your level of skill. Realistic drawing. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, realistic drawing is my my expertise, I think. That's what I started with. And then I started to learn sketching. So it was a real challenge for me to keep a drawing a bit more sketched and then stop, you know? That's what I thought was challenging. Okay, let's, yeah, I'm going to leave this for now. I think we captured the emotion here by, you see this, the eyebrow like that. Let's darken this a bit. Okay. Let's see, for the other one, you can, yeah, this one will be sad. So I'm going to add a tear, and that's obvious, of course, that someone will look sad and a bit angled. So I'm going to draw the line angled. Up. And the eye will also be closed a bit. So you see how, I'm not sure if that's the same for you, adding a guideline, it really helps to keep, it helps me to draw everything. Like for example, the eyebrow, it will all be on that same angle. Here you see also straight. Here it starts straight, but then it curves, but it helps for me to draw a guideline to start with. Okay, so the upper eyelid, and when someone's sad, the eyes get even smaller. So this eye will be a bit smaller. The lash line, the crease line. So again, it's in the middle, it's a bit straight, but then follow this angle of the angle that you already drew. And then around here, usually, like you can see here is where it starts to curve towards the inside. So curve, and then here straight, and then usually here it starts to curve. And here is also a bit more of the crease line, and here. The waterline, let's lighten the guideline a bit. Let's see, the iris. So if we have the inner corner, outer corner, then the iris is in the middle. And the pupil, it's quite dark. So I'm going to fill in the whole iris again. You see how I follow that direction? And the pupil is also dark. So let's fill that all in. Darken. Let's see, I want to change this a bit. Curve this a bit more. And go darker a bit. The eyebrow. And crease line. Okay, let's, the eyebrows usually here. Oh, I could have drawn this one a bit more to the right, but it fits. So you see that here in the middle, the hairs are more together, so I just draw like this back and forth strokes, really close together. And then here you see a bit longer hairs, and like that. So that here it's a bit darker. Let's see, the upper lashes are because the person has the eyes a bit closed, the lashes are down or a bit to the front, so you don't really see them. And then we have the lower lashes. And you see, yeah, I usually draw lashes like quick, just this quick movement. Check how they curve, or are they more straight? Now I'm going to go over the lines a bit to darken, and let's see, where can we add more shading here? Here it's darker, and here it's darker. And let's add some shading here. And then we're going to add a tear. Let's see if I can get that right with Sketch or with some extra shading. Let's darken this a bit more. The inside is really dark because of the shadow. So let's add some, so I add some really, with really light pressure, I add some shading, and then I use my finger to shade to smoothen it further. So here it's all shading, and then here let's add a tear here by the crease line. And then here is some shading. There's a reflection in the tear, and that will make it look like it's wet. And on this side is shadow. So this is tricky. How to keep this looking a bit more realistic. So let's darken the eyelashes a bit, because now they're a bit lost. Let's go over them. And then what you can also do is use the acrylic marker to get that bright white highlight if you need. That's what I usually use for the brightest areas. Let's add some more shading here. Okay, so in this case you can see a tear, but if you wouldn't see a tear, in this case the eye is a bit more closed. So you see that the eye is a bit more together, and that makes this eye look a bit sad. So if you're going to draw a person looking sad, that's the first thing that you want to create. Focusing on the eyes. Because again, when you look at a portrait, the first thing you see are the eyes first thing you look at when you look at a person, usually, are the eyes. Let's add a bit shading on this side and on this side. And a bit more shading here. And then let's use the eraser to keep that highlight lighter. And some shading. Okay, so I want to add some shadow on one side of the tear to create that, yeah, think about a sphere. And then a highlight. Maybe I can use the acrylic marker. So I'm shading with my finger, but then I'm going to use the eraser again. For the highlights. Okay. Yeah, so I could keep on adding shading and shading. Let's add a bit here. And also the great thing about a sketchbook is you can, maybe you don't get that pressure of creating something good every time. Sketchbook, you can keep it a bit more loose and sketched. Instead of having to draw something realistic. Let's see if I can use the acrylic marker to add that brightest. Highlights. Okay, with the acrylic marker. Uniposca. This is my favorite. Let's add some brightest highlights here. And let's darken this a bit. You actually want to add the highlight at last. You don't want to accidentally go over it. So now I actually need to be careful. But I think I think I'm not going to continue too much with the shading. I could. But again, I did want to keep this a bit more sketched. Okay, so I hope you thought this was interesting, how to create these different emotion. So if you look at this one, can you see that it really looks, yeah, happy? If you just look at that one. If you look at this one, a bit worried, frustrated. If you look at this one, sad, yeah, of course, of the tear. Let's actually lighten that part in the tear a bit, because I think that looks a bit too dark. You can also squint your eyes when you look at your sketch. How does that look? Yeah, okay. I think that's it for today. These are my sketches. I hope this is helpful for you too when you're going to try this for yourself and practice. You're welcome, everyone. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this live session. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe if you found this helpful. And don't forget to practice this for yourself. Also, just look up any other reference photo and just draw something. Just practice, add shading, practice with shading, and the different pressure and values with just one pencil is also really interesting to do. So if you'd like to get updates and reminders for my other live sessions, you can join my email list. There's a link below the video. And if you're interested in learning more from me, you can check out my art courses, or if you want more guidance, my art membership will help you learn from the beginning in a structured way. So you will practice and you will get helpful feedback whenever you need. And you will start with learning the basics if you're a beginner, because that is really what it all comes down to. If you're going to sketch, if you're going to draw something, paint something, the basics is what will help you further. So my goal is to help you improve your drawing skills with step-by-step video lessons and help you move forward, to help you go from beginner to advanced. If you'd like to join us, you can find all of the details under the video. Erica says, even in your eye sketches, you draw very realistically. They are awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you all for your kind comments. I really appreciate it. Sketches is also something I practiced and tried. So I want to encourage you to also practice. Keep on practicing, keep on drawing. Like I said, you can also just practice for 10 minutes. Draw the sketch and then maybe continue the shading another time if you don't have enough time. So it doesn't have to take a lot. As long as you keep on drawing regularly, you will practice and train your hand to draw more natural. It's all about practice. You could do a whole course on just this. Yeah, actually interesting, like just sketching, because now I have a course about the basics, learning how to draw realistic and about the values, and yeah, maybe fill a whole sketchbook, and yeah, that's interesting. Okay, so that's it for today. I hope to see you all next week. Have a nice day or evening. Again, thank you all so much, and bye-bye.